this video, we'll take a moment to talk about how to organize files, because organizing files is very, very important. So if we go over into our outliner here, we can see that we have our objects here. Now, when you begin to create your creations, the outliner will be filled with a lot of objects, a lot of data. For example, let me just duplicate this and show you what's happening there. Like so. Imagine you are creating, like, I don't know, like an airplane base or with ships and maybe a whole army. Each of those would be displayed here, and it can get pretty cluttered. So it's important to organize your files. Now I'm going to show you how to do just that, and you can organize your files using something called collections. Now before we go into that, you need to know how to rename your files, well, your objects. So to rename an object, just select the object, and you could come over here in the outliner, double click and type the name there, or with the objects selected in the 3D viewport here, just make sure that your cursor is within the 3D viewport and press F2, and then you're able to rename this object here. So we can call this, I don't know, maybe 1, left click, call this 2. Right. Of course, you'd give these more meaningful names if they were actually, I guess, objects that made sense other than cubes, right? I could call them cube 1, cube 2, cube 3, or etc. But anyway, so we have 3 of our cubes renamed. Now we want to separate it from the rest of these cubes. Well, the way to do that is to create what is called a collection. Now I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can do that. So you would select the objects that you want to go within the collection there and press the M key on your keyboard, and that will bring up a menu, and you just click on new collection here, and we'll give this a name. Let's call this numbers and click on OK, and we see it's being displayed here, and all our objects are within that collection. So if we wanted to move all of those objects together, we could just right click on the collection and select objects, and it will select all of the objects all at once, and you're able to move them. All right. If we turn off the eye icon over here, it would hide all of them all at once. You can also go inside of the collection and, you know, manage them individually if you wanted. Now you can also add stuff to the collection or add other objects to the collection by selecting the object that you want to add, press the M key and search for the collection that you want to add it to. And in our case, it's called numbers, and just left click on that, and that will be added to that collection. So we can see here the cube, and it's added. All right. And of course you can create multiple collections. So we could put these 3 in another collection by pressing M, new collection, and call these, I don't know, unnamed, and click OK, and we have that collection there. You can also create collections from the outliner here by right clicking and clicking new collection to create a collection. Now that collection got added into our previous collection here. Let me just left click and drag it out. All right, but you can create your collections from here as well. Let me right click that and delete hierarchy to remove that collection because we don't need it. Now, another thing that you can do with collections is color code them. So we could right click the collection and head down here, and we see a bunch of different colors. So we could maybe assign a color of green to this collection, right click this one and assign a color of red, just to differentiate them so that we don't get lost, right? And that would better organize our files. We could have, if we had, like, for example, multiple cameras, we could put all those cameras within a collection by itself and call that cameras. We could put our lights into its own collections and call it lights, etc. and so forth. So collections are a good way to organize your files, and I wanted to do it at this point before we move forward, so that you would start organizing your files from now, or at least know how to organize your files from now. To duplicate any of your objects, just select the object and press Shift and D to duplicate. So that's how I duplicated these, but we'll get into that in future videos. So that's it for this tutorial, and I will see you in the next video.